Good evening, Facebook family and friends, YouTube family and friends. I am Sheba and I am your happy bug. And tonight is one of those very controversial conversations. I like the controversial conversation because it always gets us to thinking, and you just never know who it's going to reach. You never know whose lives it's going to change. So we're very excited about this topic this evening, toxic relationships and how they affect children. Sometimes I think in life we're not always cognizant of the way things are affecting other people. And if the things that we're doing, if they are necessarily something that is not great. So we have a couple parents here, and we have one very special individual because it was a conversation that we had is that I had with a group of people, and she's come to share a more of a personal experience with this type of situation. So I hope that you guys have your receiving caps on this evening. I hope that we're able to dive in and touch some well needed things if they're within your spirit. I want to thank you guys for joining us this evening. I want to thank the panel for being here because if we did not have a panel, we could not have Talk Tuesday. So we have Michael, we have Nikki, we have Kay, and we have Miss Colette, and we're just gonna have this talk tonight. And um, so we're just gonna open the floor. We're gonna start with Michael since he was the first to arrive in the room tonight, and we're gonna let him give us his ideology on what he thinks about toxic relationships and the effect that they will have on children. So, Mr. Michael, the floor is yours.
Thank you, thank you. First, I like to say I destroy stereotypes. I showed up early. That's what we do. Uh, Secondly, I like to also admit that I'm kind of fresh out of a toxic relationship with kids, so it's a little
Mm,
personal for me too. Uh, 8 years where I think I was maybe happy 2 weeks collectively, and it made like now sitting here as myself, it makes no sense why I was there. But
mm,
that's probably that's another conversation. We won't get into that. But toxic relationships, I watched a child from, let's say, 4 years old to 12, which of course is 8 if you do math. I watched how she developed, and to this day it breaks my heart. I think I threatened to leave 4 times, and her mother has this little thing where she'll say, "Oh yeah, you're gonna leave? Go tell your daughter why you're leaving." Because of course, when she's mad at me, it's my daughter. She's not actually my daughter, but she was just like me. And the first time, she and I were sitting in my truck, and the tears that you saw, like she was so, "You can't leave me. You can't leave me with her. You're this, and you make everything fun, and I do everything with you, and you're an awesome dad. Please don't go. Please don't go." That was the first time. The second time, she had tears running, and she looked at me, and she was just like, "I love you. I'd rather you not go anywhere."
mm.
And I know
Right,
maturity, but the maturity from 4 to, let's say, 8, it's a big leap, but it's not. You're not a mature person. She's still a kid. And
right.
then this last time when she was 12, it was the it let me know that I was doing the right thing, because I've always said in my life, you never stay for the kids, because they can see the sadness in you, they can see the heartbreak,
Mm,
and they can see what you're becoming as you're trying to hold back and fake who you are as a parent. And she sat in the car with me, and she looked at me, and she said, "You got to go, huh?" I was like, "Why you say it like that?" She's like, "Man, you are not happy. I see it every day. You got to go, daddy." And I was like, "You
mm,
think?" She was like, "Oh no, I know you're gonna go crazy, and mommy's already crazy. I don't want it to happen to you." And it broke my heart, because I never want her to look at her mom like that.
right.
So not only did that make me feel bad, but it let me know how toxic it was, that a 12-year-old who doesn't know what a toxic relationship is, never been in one, knows exactly what it looks like.
Mm,
She doesn't know about it from person. She's seen it. And the only thing I can hope is that it didn't diffuse into her mind that that's the way it's supposed to be.
mm, mm,
Hopefully it was the exact opposite, that she saw that and was like, "I never want any parts of that." And it breaks my heart, because I can't talk to her anymore because of how the divorce is going. But anytime I'm near her, I try to let her know. I'm like, look, when you hit 18 and legally you can't be stopped to talk to me, please come. If I don't ever want you to feel abandoned, I don't ever want you to feel like I gave you up. I love you, and what you saw was not healthy. Do the opposite.
Right.
And I'll let the ladies come in because you know me, I'll talk forever.
What is by your definition, what makes it toxic? And when you think of toxicity in a relationship, what are your thoughts on that? What does that look like to you?
Okay, well, what makes it toxic? I think the sexiest thing about a woman and the best thing about a relationship is effort.
Okay.
Two people pushing for something that makes them both better than what they are, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
toxicity is when one or neither person no longer gives effort and they're just in a place of whether it's being content or they just waiting for the next best thing to pop up, but there's no effort, there's no giving, there's no pushing to make the union better. That is basic toxic. Even if it's not the screaming, if there's no yelling, there's something in your soul that lets you know this person isn't there for you. I think I heard women say it. I haven't heard a guy say it yet, but I've heard women say it plenty of times. They say it feels like I'm living with a roommate and not a husband or not a boyfriend. That's like that's base level toxicity, because if you're with somebody and you feel like they're your roommate and you're still sleeping with them and you're still giving them everything that you want in a relationship, but there's nothing there, so you're just throwing your love up against a brick wall, and that can do nothing but make you harder, make you less loving in the future, make you what they call bitter women or bitter angry guys. That's what builds that, because you're trying and you're trying and you're trying and it's not giving you any results. It changes you mentally and it changes you emotionally.
Mm.
And so that's like my base level toxicity. Highest level, or you've seen it, we've all seen it. Out, matter of fact, that's so funny. Today, I have a friend who lives near another friend. They're neighbors, and
Mhm.
she texted me to gossip because she loves tea, and she's telling me, "Oh my gosh, your boy and his girl are out here screaming for the whole neighborhood, and they're fighting and they're fighting." And not only is that toxic, but that's like destructive. That's like that should be another level, destructive toxicity. I'm thankful that I've never had a relationship like that, and I want no parts of it. And what was your second question? Because I was going.
I can't remember, but let me ask you this. You answered it so well. I'm not sure what the second part or if it's even valid at this point.
Oh, well, girl,
Let
stop
me ask you,
flirting with me. Thank you.
Al, let me ask you this. What when you think back, what do you think could have been different? We all have something we could have done differently. And now that we see it and think about it in retrospect, it's like, damn, I could have probably been better about that.
Are you asking what could have been better to make it better, or what could have been better for me to get leave faster? Because I
What
think me
you
leaving
could have
faster.
done,
Hey, I'm honest.
what could you have done
Hmm.
to make it better?
Okay. My big issue is I'm an actual feminist.
Okay.
People love to say they're feminist, and what they really saying are they want women to get the good things that guys have. I don't believe that's feminism. I think feminism is a woman being equal, making whatever choice she wants to make and moving on with her life. Like, you do whatever you want to do. If being a housewife is what you want to do, live on. If saying to hell with man, I want to work the rest of my life, go on. If
All
I
right.
want to sit on the stoop and look at the stars as a woman, I should be able to do that. Whatever choices you make, that's what you should be able to do. That's what I believe true feminism is.
Okay.
And because of that, in a relationship, I don't like, people like to say the man is the head of the household, right? In my
Right.
mind, head of the household doesn't mean I run the house. It doesn't mean what I say goes. It means I am the front line. I'm the first to sacrifice to keep everybody behind me solid. Now, what everyone's job behind me is to do is to support me so those sacrifices are easier for me to make.
Okay.
It's it's not hard for me to let's say to pay this extra money or to sacrifice my new car because the kid needs braces, because my kids got my back, my woman has my back. They, even if I don't get to get this car that I want, I know they might wash my car for me or have it detailed or have it shined up so I feel less bad about it. You know, they're
Okay.
supporting me and my emotions and my psychological being in this relationship and this family to make it easier to sacrifice. Now, my thinking is like that. Her thinking is more patriarchal, where she wants the man, she wanted me to do everything first and whole before she had to do anything. So we actually made a list of what we needed to be happy with each other, right? I thought it was genius. I thought it was genius.
Okay.
Give me everything you want, and then I'm gonna give you a list of what I want to make each other happy. We give it and we'll do it. I got the list on, let's say, the first. 2 months later, I had done 70% of the things on my list. She got angry at me because of the 30% I hadn't done. And I reminded her that she hadn't done anything on my list. And in her mind, she wasn't supposed to do anything until I finished 100% of her list. She needed to be happy fully before she started on me. And I guess on some plane that makes sense. Like, being the man, I'm supposed to step forward. I'm supposed to do everything. I'm supposed to, I don't know. But in my mind, we're equal people. If I'm doing 2%, you bring your 2%. We could both go to 4 together. We can go to 6 together. In her mind, that's not how it works. And it literally, we didn't have this conversation until maybe a month ago, where this is what she thinks. And if I'd have known this 8 years ago, we would have never been together. Like, that's not how my mind works. But I guess that goes to having deeper conversation and communication. But that's another topic.
Okay. That was a good opening. Thank you, Michael. And we're going to continue to talk as the night go on. We're just going to let everyone kind of open up their thoughts on what we're talking about tonight, so then we can have an inner conversation with one another, knowing that about each other at that point. Okay.
No
So,
problem.
Miss Nikki, let's talk, Miss Nikki.
Woo woo.
Woo-hoo.
So wait, ask me the
You know what?
question again.
I have this here. Let me put it there. Toxic relationship.
So what? How do I relate to
Mm-hmm.
them? What do I think of them? I mean, when it comes, I feel like toxic relationships. It's a pattern, and it started before that
Mm.
actual relationship. Like for me, for example, I feel like I was in a series of toxic relationships because I didn't really have a firm grasp of what a successful relationship was. So that was my example of a relationship was a toxic relationship. I didn't know it was toxic. I thought that's what I've seen, but I kept repeating it with multiple people. And even though my kids weren't always, had met them or, were around, it's still the way it affects me, it affects my parents in very much. Like I found myself to be a lot more colder when I was in toxic relationships, bitter. You don't ever want to, especially as women, we don't want to refer to ourselves as bitter, but we get bitter. You get, failed relationship after failed relationship, and then you're just looking at it. It's not so much a toxic relationship, it's like a toxic cycle. That's why I said it's not so much that relationship. I feel like that toxicity starts from the your initial relationships that you see, your parents, your aunts, uncles, your grandparents, Like I said, my grandparents stayed married, but my parents didn't. Aunts, uncles, I hadn't seen a successful relationship. So I didn't really have a good example to go off of. So I feel like that was my toxicity. My example of,
Do you think that the toxicity comes in when we set expectations of what we think a relationship is supposed to look like? Because if we've never seen one model, how do we know that what we're doing is not good because it doesn't make us happy? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, in my case, is it was because it wasn't making me happy. Like to me, I just felt like this can't be right. Like this cannot be how it's done. I should not feel like this in a relationship. Like can't be it, you know? So I had to really get real with myself and ask myself, where I'm at and where my head is at with this. But I mean, I don't know. That's kind of tough for me to reword the question. Say the question again.
The reason what I asked you, is it because the expectations? Because I think that when we look
Yeah,
out at relationships as people, we think that they're supposed to almost glamour and glitter and glitz for the most part.
yeah,
But I think that that's not ideal for a relationship. Because
yeah.
even with your sisters and your brothers and even though mommy and daddy think that not arguing in front of the children is protecting them, it's actually creating a false truth because people do argue
Yeah,
and people do fight.
I
And it's
agree.
just unfortunate that they, for whatever reason, some people just do better about fixing problems once they are
I
in.
I think learning a healthy way to argue is important because you're right. Not everybody's gonna agree, but and everybody don't take an argument to the same place. Like some people can get to a height of an argument and can calm themselves down and can negotiate and talk to you or whatever they need to do. But some people they get to a certain point and that's where they're at, and it just keeps rising from there. So, but yeah, I agree 100%.
Because I asked someone one time, what was I? This someone was having this talk about a relationship. This was like years ago, and I said, I think the bigger problem that we have when we don't have two parent homes, because a lot of people put it on two parent homes not being real and not being a reality. But in my ideology, the only thing two parent homes teaches you, for the most part, is how to do what you didn't know or what a person who never experienced it, how to handle it. It never, when you don't see two people working things out, it almost teaches you that it can't be worked out. So you
Yeah.
living in this life, it's you and this other person, but you've been in a one-sided situation. Your mama, for argument's sake, the mama's nutty because she just has her ideologies the way that they're set up. So nutty mamas teach children to be nutty. They don't think. When you teach your daughter not to trust women, that doesn't make any sense. You don't teach a woman not to trust herself because she becomes the problem for the people. But for people, that makes sense. But if you had a dad, he would be like, wait a minute. Hopefully, unless he's an idiot, hopefully he'll be that balance. You know what I mean? Where he'll bring you, okay, you know what? You might not even be able to let them argue in front of each other. He would never tell you that in front of your mom. But he'll catch you off to the side and be like, listen, baby, that's not it. So now he's teaching you, although to him, he might be working against you, but really he's teaching your child how to decipher things, how to think outside of their own personal space in their head. So you know what I mean? So we I think that what we think we want in a relationship doesn't always look like what we thought it should look like, especially when we never had anything to model. So I think that that's what I was like asking you, because everybody wants to see each other happy and smile. But even the happiest people
It
don't
won't be
always
all the
smile.
time.
Sometimes
Yeah.
you're gonna bust that nigga in his head. You're gonna bust him dead.
Exactly.
Like that was real
Exactly.
stupid when you said it the first time, sir. And you be
I
so
think it's being
mad
able to come
sometimes.
back from it. In
Yeah.
my most toxic days, I couldn't come back from it. I didn't know how to to resolve after an argument. If we got to a too bad of an argument, I was done and I was leaving and I moved on, and that was
Wow.
toxic in myself. But, that was a whole, like I said, I don't know. Like I learned, you just don't deal with certain stuff and you get out of there when they're not doing it, and so, but like you said, if you don't have anything
Yeah.
to go off of, what do you go off of? You
Right.
know?
And running is not, unfortunately, running is not always the
It's not
issue.
the way. No, I don't think it
Because,
ever is.
yeah, because I think that we teach our children how not to resolve things. And to me, that's more toxic than anything.
Exactly. That's why I said I was the
Yeah.
toxicity. It was just bouncing to relationship to relationship.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Because I
guys.
think that we look for happiness in people. I think that's people's biggest problem. No one can ever make you happy. I don't know how many times I have to tell people that. And I learned it the hard way because I began to realize that people didn't make me mad. So like I was always, because I'm the happy bug. I love being happy because when I'm mad, I'm super stupid. So I don't like feeling that way. I like to be happy. So I maintain that for the most part. And I try always to keep a smile because I want to always remember why. People say, why you laughing? Why you smile so much? Because there's a lot of moments that I might not have that I can. So now I'm creating moments to think about when things aren't good so that it can remind me to smile in those moments when they're not good. So I work hard at that. But the one concept that never made sense to me is how the fuck somebody ain't making me mad. That was a hard because stupid. Now you know that was stupid when you did it. Nah, man, it's not even nothing they did. It's the way I decipher they stupidness. So I made myself mad, and I think once people gather that concept, then we could be better because a lot of relationships suffer. And I think we focus more on the relationships between a man and a woman. But when we got work relationships, we have toxic relationships at work. And now you got to go to this damn job. I went to work 3 days over the course of the past 3 weeks. And well, I went to work happy and became irritated there on that Friday morning. Then the next day when I went back, I went in my sandals and my slides because I didn't know which way was gonna happen and how fast I was gonna have to get to the motherfucker that made me mad. Then the third time I go back because I don't know what they got for me, so now I'm irritated. I had to change my concept, but like, goddamn, that shit aggravated me. But then I realized that it was the way of course, we know it was the way I deciphered it. So I was able to switch that energy. But some people like you, Nikki, they don't know how to get past that feeling. They just don't know how. And then, so we have work relationships, and then we have relationships with the person that we fucking. Because when we having sex with them, that don't make the relationships. Dealing with his ass make the relationship. You know what I mean? And then you have sisters, and then you have brothers, and there's a lot of relationships, but we always focus on these. Because
Yeah.
believe it or not, the relationships we have with our friends really do affect our children. Believe it or not. Because my children tell me, oh, you ain't talking to her? No, I ain't fucking with that bitch no more. Quit. Now, our children have become friends. Now, we ain't fucking with each other. It affected the children.
Yeah.
So it's deeper than the relationship with somebody that you fucking. That's a whole nother kind of relationship. You know what I mean? So that was interesting. That was pretty good. So we're gonna give the floor to Colette and let her talk to
Hold
us
on.
about this topic.
Hold on.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay, well, first of all, I have a few comments to make. That's why I was scrambling around. I couldn't find a damn pen. Mine doesn't have Wi-Fi, so I'm up in my friend's apartment. Anywho, Michael, first of all, you are a really great example. Yes, even though it wasn't even a child of your own, I thought that was absolutely amazing. Nick, you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say abuse is a pattern. It's a cycle. It's a silent killer, like cancer. We don't even see it, but we see it through our actions. And when you know your perception's off, like Sheba, like you said, how you just got to get your thoughts in line. So growing up, I had a very tough time with my father, and I still do. Luckily, I was able to separate myself from him as a person. I realized kids don't come with instructions. Um, Abuse is really a cycle and a pattern because that's all he knows, and that's all he was shown. So at a certain point, you just almost have to accept that this is the way it's going to be, and that people are people, no matter what. And we can't bow down to darkness anymore. And it's sad, it's unfortunate because you only get one set of parents. And I used to be so angry, so mean, so spiteful. I would take it out on my poor mother and like within my other friends, and she just would always say, "You're just like your father," and that was just the biggest trigger. And you know why? Because she was right. She was so right. And like you said, Shiva, relationships aren't supposed to be glitter, glitz, and glam. Nothing in life is a straight shoot. We all know that it's a bumpy road. Um, and let's see, ask me a question so I can kind of lead this
What was the
into.
part that made you realize that the toxicity was an issue? At what point did you realize that the toxicity that came along with your father was affecting you?
As I got older and when I look back on scenarios, like since I was a young child, I remember when before he'd get off shifts, like I'd scurry around trying to make everything perfect because I knew every time he comes home, something's gonna happen, something's gonna be wrong, and like my ass is grass. Period. No matter what, just, even if the house looked perfect, he just always focused on the negative in life, and I just hated feeling like this and being in and out of therapy and everything. Um, and it's hard, like just with age,
Mhm.
luckily for some comes wisdom, and I'm grateful for the experience I've had with other people and be able to break through that and look back on it and no longer be a victim but become an advocate, and maybe help others. It's definitely never going to end because I think he's stuck in his ways because he's well into his 50s now and still refuses to see a therapist. So it's something that it's unfortunate that these are the cards that were dealt, but to make it through, you have to learn to bite the bullet and how to deal with it and how to separate yourself from that. And I noticed also, um, even though I separated myself from my father, I didn't have the best taste in men either. I was in physically abusive, verbally abusive. I was with a total junkie who's now in jail. And it just took years off my life. And I'm grateful for these experiences almost in a way because you know what you don't want and you know the signs and you know what to steer away from. And it almost makes you better as a person, even though it really hurts us and the others around us.
Well, the law of attraction, I always go to the law of attraction because the law of attraction says that everything that we don't want, we get more of. And so
Right.
I put a
So,
lot of my focus on the things that I desire and the things that are necessary because there's
right.
a lot of things that are unnecessary that we focus on that that would have wasted so much more time. And we could have used all that time to
Right.
do something so totally different. But a lot of times we don't because we're so
Right.
stuck on what went wrong. And it's so easy to get in that pattern. And I love movies, right? I love movies. I watch them. I get stuck in a movie. I watch it every day for a month. My children be like, I'm so tired of Black Panther. You've been watching it for 3 months. Because I have seen everything, yeah, straight every day. I come home. I read your mouth, Michael. I come home. I turn on my TV. I turn on Black Panther. And if I go to sleep in the middle, I start it over. And
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever. And um, but there was one movie, and I don't know if anyone else got this out of this movie, but I loved it, and it was such a beautiful moment. And Pretty Woman,
Oh,
the
yeah.
scene when she's laying in the bed, and he said, "You're so bright. You're such a bright, beautiful woman."
Yeah.
She said, "The bad things are easier to believe." I'll
It,
never forget the day that I heard that in that movie.
I don't know why, and wow, Julia Roberts really put my thoughts into words because like I don't know why we tend to gravitate towards the negative. And speaking of Pretty Woman, I used to act like who Julia Roberts once was because I didn't know what a real man was and how you should be treated. And yeah, I actually took a lot
Mhm.
from that as well. That's a really good one because daddy issues are a thing. That's a thing, and that's why people say that because
Right.
it's
Yeah.
Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. Let me say this actually. Someone just asked me if this is streaming. We stream live to Facebook and YouTube. And sometimes, for whatever reason, Facebook lately has been giving me problems in my stream out. But you can always find us on YouTube if you want to text that to your friends, guys. YouTube on the Happy Bug Enterprises we're live there as well.
okay.
Okay. But yeah, so back to what you were saying. Yeah, that was really solid. It was really solid. I think that I think that we begin to realize what we don't like when we're in situations that don't make us feel happy. That's what I think, that we realize something is wrong. And a lot of times when things are going wrong or have gone wrong in our lives, we tend to want that, or we want a piece of it. Like I had the greatest father in the world, and I'm sure everyone else feels the same, or whoever feels that way about theirs. But mine was amazing. And what makes him even more amazing is because we all thought that he was amazing. Me and my sisters all thought we was his favorite. Like I know I was his favorite, but they don't think so. You know what I mean? And only an amazing person can make everybody feel that they're his favorite, or that they're favorite to something or someone. You know what I mean? Um, but when I he died, my Abba died when I was 12. So that those influential years that would have made me a woman, he was never there to guide me. So I could only take that guidance from my mother. And to me, she had only ever been with my Abba. So what does she know when I find a relationship that wasn't good? So sometimes it wasn't always easy. But there were a couple things about the relationship that she shared with my Abba that made me feel that that's what I wanted to give to my man. I wanted to do those things because it always seemed to have satisfied my Abba. Like she would sit at his feet, and she would always make sure his food was cooked. She always served him first, and she always gave him something different. Whatever, it was always his heart's desire. She always gave that to him. And it's just unfortunate that everybody's lives that we come into don't always know what it means to be treated the way we feel is necessary.
Right.
So I think we find ourselves doing things for people that are unable to receive that what we're doing means that we love them, because they have their own title of what they think love is, or what love looks like, or what it's supposed to feel like. And then we have our own terms too, because no one ever taught us to stop and think about other people in certain situations. So I think a lot of the problems that we have, and a lot of the issues in toxic relationships, is because a lot of times we never found ourselves.
Exactly.
I think a lot of times we never found ourselves. So now we think that we're finding ourselves in a relationship, but now this person that you're dealing with never found themselves. So now you got two broken fucking people who never found shit. Y'all both traveling down the empty ass road.
That's why I think it's so important to be single. I don't understand why people fight being single so much. I mean, I understand people want, we want other people around, but I was single for about 4 years. And in that time, I learned me. I learned how to love me. I learned what that means to me, what being loved means to me. So that is so
And it's
important.
hard because
Like,
society has set this like preconceived
sorry, y'all.
notion to have like a happy-go-lucky family, the white picket fence, both parents together, butterflies and rainbows. But we all know damn well it's not like that. Hence why we're here.
You can't hear us?
I can hear you.
No, I can hear you.
No, Michael.
Oh.
I can hear everybody but Colette.
Oh.
You know that happened last
I
that
can hear
happened last
Colette.
week too. Everybody, the one guy could hear everybody but me.
Oh, so we got a sexist site. That's what we doing.
No.
It happens
Yeah,
sometimes.
I feel like that's what's
All right.
happening. The site voted and you
And
lost. Ow.
on the show, I'm so sorry, Kay, that this. I don't know if the StreamYard keeps kicking you out. It might just be a bad connection, or if it's the
I think she
internet.
got a bad connection because it's
It's not
frozen.
my time, boo boo. You go ahead. You talk on.
No, I'm talking about Kay. Her thing keeps dropping her out. And I was just getting ready to give her the floor. Okay, so we'll keep going until her until she could get a good connection.
Okay. All right. Do you have any questions?
How long have you been single, Colette? Are you single
Like
now?
a year and a half and 2 years, and I've never felt more liberated in my life, especially because right now, with my age, these are the days. And because I didn't have the best male example growing up, and like even still to this day, I kind of had to teach myself and separate myself from that. Um, it was a very bad relationship, and I feel like it took away from like a part of my youth. Like I moved in with a guy and everything. I left home, which like you shouldn't do. You're 18 and you have a perfectly fine home with your wonderful mother. And I would take that back in a heartbeat. But there's also the experience, that toxic experience, like I said earlier, I wouldn't take back because I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't have grown. I wouldn't have been able to weave through the bullshit and what I want and what I don't want. Uh,
Mhm.
so it's been a year and a half and I've seen a lot of growth. And like I said, now's the time to get my career started, my future started, bettering myself, learning to do new things, such as like learning from your channel, like scripting and just how to better my health and wellness overall, my mentality, just
That's
so
a
we
lot.
can attract greatness. Going back to the law of attraction. And there
I
is,
think
oh, sorry.
I think you had the best example coming out. I think you have to start looking at it that way
Yeah.
because everything that you didn't like that your father did, you have to work hard at not being a part of
Mm-hmm.
because he's only ever known to be who he is,
Exactly.
and he might even have some change in him, but he might not have the strength to change because it's unfortunate that change requires strength.
Yeah, it's just I don't know with him. There's something about me where I mean, even my mother says it. She apologizes to me. She's like, I don't get why he's like this. But it's just me, not even with his son. I don't know if it's because his mother kind of neglected him growing up. I don't know what it is. But
Mhm.
in another way, I'm like, I wouldn't want any of my other siblings or my family members to deal with this. Like, I'll take the bullet. You know?
Right, that's selfless, that's amazing, but your
Yeah.
dad, whatever your dad got going on, he's the perfect example,
Oh yeah.
and
And
I
he
think
knows what I
sometimes
want,
we have to see it that way,
what I'm not going to be, and what I don't want to be.
or
And I
what you right, or what you're not going to be, right.
And I was becoming him because I was nothing but angry and spiteful and looked for everything wrong in the world. And let me tell you, those were the miserable years of my life.
Right. Hey, Kay.
Hi.
Hi. Oh my gosh.
We have a really bad connection, and I'm gonna let you take the floor so we can get your view of this topic.
Oh my
So the
gosh.
floor,
The bits and pieces that I did hear, you can ask me a question because I really wasn't able to hear too much. But when Colette was speaking, I know I identified a lot with her because I myself, I've, I'm no stranger to the toxic relationship, as far as like with my parents, more so with my dad. We really don't see eye to eye. I'll say that, and it caused a lot of friction with him and I, and just with my intermediate family growing up. And I didn't realize that that spilled over into my dealing with my own adult relationships with men. I didn't realize how affected I was by that relationship with my dad. Actually, I didn't come to realize that until, recently. I would say about within the last year or so. I didn't realize how, I guess you could say, traumatized I was because when I say we had and have a volatile relationship, I just think I'm a very spiritual person, so I just think this is nothing but God allowing me to speak right here, because I really don't open up like this on a platform to speak about anything personal that's going on with me. I pray about it. I talk to my peers, my pastor, and whomever else deemed necessary. So anyway, I think it's just very ironic, like I said, that I identified with Colette. But yeah, so my dad and I, we would argue a lot. We would argue a lot. I mean, for various reasons, but we did that from when I was about 11 years old. 11 years old, and sometimes it would get physical, and I know that's right. Me too. I know who is not. I know who is not by dealing with the issues of my quote unquote toxic relationships with my dad, and also, I guess you could say, my wrong choices in men, for lack of better words, for the conversation right now. But anyway, like I said, so because I had a lot of arguing and disrespect going on with the relationship with my dad, I guess it kind of spilled over into my adult relationships. I didn't really even realize how volatile I had become, because here I am thinking like I'm a nice person. Well, let me say this: I'm probably more kind than I am nice, because I'm learning so much about myself from being in a toxic relationship, from being in these dealings with my family on a toxic level. I keep saying it and I'm laughing as I'm saying it, because I honestly, I don't like to follow the trend, and the trend now is everything is damn toxic. Like, oh my god.
I
So
agree.
I mean, I'll stick
That
like I
normal
said, for the
relationship.
strength of the conversation, for the toxic the conversation, the topic is toxic relationships, but I'm kind of like over that phrase and over that word. I mean, I never really try to put a label on it. It's just I went through a lot of shit with my dad and with relationships unknowingly. So basically, I argued a lot with I was with my ex for a long time. I mean, on and off. You want to put it together, about 12 years, and I didn't realize that after a while, a lot of the issues that I was having in my relationship, it was causing me to reflect off of the issues, far as where a pain standpoint came from with my dad. I didn't even realize it. And I found myself one day in an argument saying, like, I can't stand you. You're just like my dad. And when I said that, I had to give myself a reality check, because I'm like, what am I doing? Even though and I'm sorry, I'm being a little elusive. Let me give you a little description. So, for
You're
instance,
good.
um, the relationship that I had with my ex, we would argue a lot. I'm talking about, we would argue a lot, and it got to the point where I started knocking the hell out of him if I can, and then he'll get tired of it if he would try to restrain me. He didn't just really try to flat out hit me, but listen, baby, honey, I had a mouthpiece that would make you want to slap Jesus. I mean, I got to that point because what I saw my mom do. Now,
Mm.
if people understand, do know my mom, they understand exactly what I'm talking about. Like my mom didn't play, basically. And I didn't understand that I was developing the same characteristics that my mother had dealing with my dad. And mind you, I'm having issues with my dad. So I'm seeing when she gets into an argument with my dad, how she's handling it. And after a while, hell, I'm handling it the same way. One time, we got into a bad argument, and I was like almost a straight A kid at one point. I got really good grades. Every time I wanted to go somewhere, it was always go to your mama, go to your daddy, go to your mama. Go, well, God damn it, I'm not a ping pong. Hold on, wait a minute now, wait a minute. Like, I didn't even realize I was in trouble because it was nothing solid. So if my mom said no, and my daddy said, yeah, that created a whole nother damn argument. Why you telling her no and I'm telling her, yeah, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna run away. How about it? Because I have good grades and you telling me I can't go to the skating room with my friends? Oh, okay, watch this. Wait till y'all lay y'all ass down. I'm going to spend the night at my friend's house. My friend don't know nothing. I'm going to the skating ring. I'm doing what I want to do. So in turn, when I got into relationships as a woman too, I didn't have that understanding, that level of respect for my relationship. Hell, my friend want to go out, my cousin want to go out. You don't want me to go out? You'll be all right. I'm going out. I'm gonna see you later, and we might argue about it. We might fight about it. But guess what? I'm doing what I want to do because I didn't even have no understanding of whether it was a right or a wrong. It's just stuff that I inadvertently learned along the way by seeing people, whether it be my cousins or, like I said, my mom, because all of the women in my family, they're very strong on my mother's side. They're very opinionated. They're very dominant. So whereas I was like, I was good on the inside, but I'm picking up all of these qualities and they're dumping on top of the goodness. So I learned so many aspects of my environment that started to spill out into my relationship. Now, mind you, I'm a mother at the same time. But like Sheba was saying, I believe Sheba, I hope I'm not misquoting anybody, but we oftentimes focus on our romantic relationships more so than any other thing, and we allow that to affect us as well as it be in our friendships, relationships, our jobs, our colleagues, whomever, people on the street. Because if we're having a bad day with our man, child, please, somebody speaking to us on the street, we don't want to speak back. We're going to look at them, jerk our head like, why are you speaking to me? And that's all because of something that we've taken in. And on my behalf, I didn't understand, going back to my dad, how to reconcile, what was going on, because I didn't see my mama reconciling anything with him. Like I said, like she was tough, man. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. She would rough him up and they would argue. They did this like every single day. They argued almost every single day. And trust me, I'm proud of myself sitting here talking about this right now because this broke me down so bad that I would be in literal tears trying to explain this because I was affected. I was traumatized and I didn't even know what I'm crying about. I didn't even know why I'm cussing out my boyfriend and all of a sudden I'm talking about the arguments and the way my daddy used to do my mama and my mama used to do my daddy and why I was exposed to these things and not choosing this life and why am I with you and I don't even like you no more and why you still reminding me of my daddy. Like it was a frenzy for me for a lot of years. It's a lot of stuff. And I will say that, one thing about life I think is beautiful because had I not been able to go through those things, I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk about it right now. I mean, and even some of the stuff I'm still getting over, but it's okay because I figure if I'm learning to deal with it and speak about it and open up about these type of things, it'll help somebody else, because in the Black community, in any community, but more specifically in the Black community, we don't talk about these things, like, and if we do talk about it, it's in a joking manner, like we're gonna talk about our mom cussing out our dad, or whatever the situation may be, in a joking manner. But on the inside, we was crying about this last night. We was crying about our mom and our dad arguing and them being on the verge of breaking up, and we don't know if it's because of us, and why is everything around us going on like this, and why are we doing what we're doing, and we don't even realize that we're acting out now because of things that we're seeing our parents go through, and then now, okay, we forget about it. It fades. We have children. Again, we get in these relationships, whether we're with the dad or with someone else or with ourselves. We got to be in a relationship with ourselves. We got to, before we could be with somebody else, but we don't know this yet, because all we done experienced is the crazy ass relationships that we dealt with our parents. Those are our first relationships right there. Our mom and our dad, or our whoever is raising us. Those are our first relationships right there. And if we don't create, or we don't recognize a foundation, well, it's not on us as children to establish the foundation. But it's, interestingly enough, when I was 11 years old, I also remember telling my mother, like, you know, if you don't allow me to experience anything, I'm not going to know anything. Then when I said that, it was because all I knew was basically what I'm dealing with on the inside of the household with these people, with these nut jobs. All they doing is arguing and fighting, and I'm soaking it all in, and I'm growing up. I'm not really experiencing life as I should be. And damn it, next thing you know, I subsequently went through my own issues of life. That's a whole nother topic. But I'll just say I had a child when I was 14 years old. And then so now I'm growing up and I'm trying to experience life on a whole nother level. And at the same time, I'm still in this toxic relationship with my mother and my father, because they're still arguing with each other. They're still arguing with me. They're not respecting me as a person. Forget, this is even before I got pregnant at a young age. They're still not respecting me as a person. They see me as a golden child in their mind, but the way they're reciprocating it out to me was misery and horror. Because if I'm a golden child, take the time out to stop arguing for a goddamn minute and come see me. I'm a cheerleader now. You want to come see me at a game? Oh, you don't want to come see me at a game? Oh, okay. I'm making A's and B's. It's a ceremony over here, that you guys could come to, because I only got one B on my report card, and I've been doing this for years. Y'all want to come see me get this award? No, y'all don't want to do that. But y'all want me to see y'all arguing all the time. And how could you not think that this was not going to affect me? Okay, now I'm in my 30s. I'm in my mid 30s. And now y'all don't argue anymore. Y'all don't do all that arguing and stuff anymore. Y'all managed to stay together and all that other good stuff. But guess who's arguing now? Me.
Yeah.
And guess who's arguing with them? Me. Guess who has an issue with them? Me. Guess where I learned it from? Them. And I didn't see none of this. It took for me to go through blood, sweat, and tears, failed relationships, kids that's growing up with my parents, me trying to raise my kids, me trying to grow up myself, me trying to understand why I have this volatile relationship with my dad, why me and my mom don't talk anymore. Like, it was just such a conglomerate of things. So back and forth, these things were happening, and I'm trying to be in a relationship because now I'm trying to get away from all of this shit that I'm going through with my own personal life. So I'm like, okay, well, let me jump in this relationship now. Even if it's not perfect, it's something different from this toxic relationship that I've been dealing with for 18 years that I just can't get away from. So now I'm dealing with you. Now sex is involved. Now I don't know about soul ties. That's a whole nother damn toxic relationship within itself. Now we're dealing with a
fucking mic.
Boy, you laying the pipe right. You
That's a different kind of beast.
Wait a minute now. Okay, so now I'm trying to deal with all of this. I don't even know how to gather myself with this. You understand what I'm saying? So now I'm getting an argument with you. You lay the pipe down. I'm confused as hell. I don't want you around my kids like that, but god damn it, you better come around these legs. You know what I'm saying? I can't get it. I don't know what to do. But I'm not allowing my children to be engulfed, like I said, off and on 12 years. I didn't allow my children to be so engulfed inside of the relationship with me and my mates. Now, mind you, yeah, I'm familiar with him, been there, done that, and all that, but I just didn't want it to be like this because on the inside of me, I just knew something wasn't right, but I couldn't figure it out. Even if I was like, why you remind me of my daddy sometimes, and why I feel like, I don't like you sometimes, and it's in correlation to the thoughts that's coming up in this relationship, but it's the situations and the scenarios that's in the back of my memory banks that's simultaneously coming out. I'm like, I'm turning into a goddamn psychiatrist over here. What the hell is happening? What is happening to my life? Now dig this. I got two girls. My youngest is 14, and then my oldest, we're not even going to, I'm telling you, boy, it takes a multitude of broadcasts to pack all of this. You have to do series of this, I believe, because it's so much. And I'm just trying to run around. I don't know what y'all been talking about. I'm just trying to cover a whole bunch of bases of what we consider to be toxic these days was really considered taboo, because we just don't even talk about this type of stuff. And if we open up and we talk about it, child, please, our friends gonna be looking at us like, child, she got all that going on in her life, and and I'm like this now, bitch whisper, because I kept all of this aside to myself, and I almost went crazy. I don't care if it's gonna help somebody. Like I said, I don't care if it's one person. That's what God allowed me to open up my mouth for. Because mind you, through all of this stuff that I'm telling y'all, I developed bipolar depression. I developed heavy anxiety. Like right now, I'm probably sweating like crazy telling y'all this, but it gotta come out. It gotta come out. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people have issues with their dads. A lot of people have dysfunctional relationships with men. And my thing, as far as it goes with the men, I feel like a lot of men don't get women and women don't get men. It's 50-50 or 100-100 if you want to put it that way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, nobody takes precedence over this when it comes to that. But what I will say about that is, it's good for men to try to take a ear if a woman decides, and if she's able to open up about certain things that has happened to her in her past life, because sometimes these things could come out, and if they do come out, it can be very therapeutic for you to see the nature of a woman's still hear me. Well, a lot of times we sit with the intentions, and we wanna just get off. We listening to her crying and hollering and yelling and screaming, and we just want to get off. I'm speaking it, I guess, in the mindset of a man, but even a woman, because when we listen to an argument or the words that's coming out of a man's mouth, we don't readily listen with the intention to respect them at whatever standpoint they're at. We just have that intent to take it in.
Well, I think most
We
people
want to
passively
take it in.
listen.
Let me.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, very, very much so. So I hear you.
I think most people passively
Very much
listen
so.
anyway. And I think that
They
what I think
very.
you're breaking out really bad, Kay. Can you hear it? Can you hear us? Okay.
I'm here.
No. Oh. I liked what you were saying.
Okay. We can't hear you.
Ah, the devil busy. That's what I would say to stuff like that. Somebody don't want me to talk. I'm talking today.
We can hear you, but you're going in and out like really, really, really bad.
I'm here.
I wanna say this, and I think, and it's not until you know what other people go through, for the most part, that you're able to appreciate your situations a little bit better. At least for me, I don't know if that's everyone else's
Yeah.
truth, but it is definitely mine. I couldn't imagine what life would be like without a good father in it. You know, my Abba passed when I was 12 years old, but I even now this day, and he's been gone, he'll be gone 30 years next year. And right now, I
Mm.
still quote the things that he taught me when I was just 11 years old. That's how much they meant to me. Okay. And I'll tell you like I told Colette, because Colette said that she had the worst situation, or she had a bad situation, but I think in those situations they were kind of probably the best,
Yeah.
because they taught you what I think a lot of times we miss the lesson and things that are happening around us, because we can only focus on what we don't love or like about it. And I think that's one of the bigger
Uh-huh.
issues as people. I think people go through that. There's always a good lesson in something. I mean, I
Right.
work on me a lot, and I realize that I'm still working. Cause man, them
Yeah.
guys that work at me so goddamn mad, man,
We
I
never
had to fix myself.
we never stop growing. We never stop growing. Every day is something else. Something
Yeah.
new.
Yeah.
So I think I don't think that those I think that they were rough situations, because they're unfathomable for some people. But I think
Right.
what begins to happen, and why we bring them in our relationship so much, is because we want this person to be the good side of everything that we didn't like about our parents. I don't know
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
It does.
We expect him, like some people don't. People, one time someone asked me, "What makes you happy?" Shit, I don't even fucking know how to answer that. You know
I
how
don't
many people
know.
don't know what the
Right.
fuck make them happy? What'd you say, Michael?
Because they
Dude, that's
don't
a
know
real question. I have
what
no
true
idea what makes me
happiness
happy.
is.
Yeah.
Because
Most people don't know what
yeah.
make them happy. People say, "What you do for fun?" I don't know.
Wow.
And then you go to say, "Oh, I ain't even dated in a while." No, you
Well,
just don't know what the fuck you do for fun. So then what we do, so we take that and we bestow it on someone else. Now that person already don't know what
Yeah.
the fuck
Yeah.
makes them happy.
yeah.
They don't know what the fuck they do for fun.
Now they
Yeah,
got the responsibility of,
And that's super
yeah,
toxic.
keeping us happy
yeah.
and keeping
That's
us
That is
super
free.
toxic.
toxicity in itself. You
Yeah.
never
Facts.
even you never even had to get into a fucking argument. The only thing you need to know is what makes you happy. And
You
people
know,
I
will
wish
I
I
made
fail
a
knew.
that
post.
fucking test every time.
Yep.
Every
I
time.
made a post on
I'm
Twitter
listening. I gotta get
uh
my charger for my phone. Okay, y'all?
the other day, and I'm trying to remember what exactly what I said. I was like, because you tried to love on him instead of allowing yourself to grow in love with him. That thought just came to my mind, and I know for me that has been true before. I don't know about anybody else, but a lot of times we as women, we don't even realize it though, but we take on this type of like a savior complex when it comes to men. We want to be there for them.
We
We
want
want
to
to make
fix
sure.
them.
everything is right. Like we wanna
We gotta fix
we
them.
gotta fix them, and hell, we don't want nobody else to do anything for them. If hi, if our man needs some food, damn it, we better be the one to make his plate, or get him some food, or get it there. If we gotta walk, we gotta get on the bus and get a ride. Damn it, because if he come home full, it's gonna be a problem if he don't work at a restaurant where they serve
Hmm.
food. Like,
You better fucking know it.
Hey, don't sleep. It's not just women,
oh
because
God,
I was cursed with that for a long time. My all my female friends said I love to fix broken people, and that's the worst. It's like it makes you feel broken at the end of the day, and it messes up who you are, because you're not learning who you are. You're so busy trying to be a chameleon to fix other
oh,
people, or to put
Always.
their cracks in and smooth them out a
mm,
little bit, or oh,
Mm-hmm.
I know what it is. And it's funny, because what it ended up doing is, I call them my prodigal exes. Every time I would fix one or get
mm,
one to a better place, they would leave me thinking, oh, I could do better, and then
my
try to come
Lord.
back. And I would laugh. I'm like,
Mm,
you're no longer the in pieces girl. I have no attraction for you. You do nothing for me. And then they'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, I can't stand. I'm like, sorry. Like, you left me to go out in the world. Go find yourself now. And
Well,
it's
that's
like,
the
Right.
thing
mm.
about you,
and then
though.
here's how toxic my brain was. Then I'd be like, oh, nobody wants me. It's like, but I did this. Like, I built them up to go,
My God, my
and
God.
you feel
Mm.
me? And it's like
I feel
self
like
fulfilling
it be
prophecy.
projection. I feel like sometimes it can be projection. I feel like in my life, the the main time when I felt like I wanted to fix someone was when I was the most broken. Like
Fuck
I was
yeah.
needing to
Yeah.
fix
Facts.
myself.
Fuck
So
yeah.
I'm looking out at everybody else looking at what's messed up on them, but it's really a reflection. It's just a projection of what's
Of
going on with
you.
me.
Yeah.
That's when
With
I
you.
really learned like okay, to stop looking on the outside. That go with all of that.
Outside.
Like looking on the outside of you to find happiness and I mean, at the end
Mm-mm.
of the day, everything's just a reflection of you. And once you start, noticing that, like, well, what I don't like in him is something I really don't like in myself.
Mhm.
So
Yes,
now I
yes,
need
yes.
to address that. I need to fix that in me so I can quit attracting the man that has that because it's a
Come
reason
on
I'm
now.
attracting him, you know?
Yeah.
Can I
Yeah.
say this one thing?
Yeah.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
Like, I'm listening to all of you, and some of you hit like these fears that I have. Because you
Mm.
remember I was talking about my stepdaughter. Well, she's not anymore, but I still love her. And I saw that in Nikki, and then I saw like my exes in Kay, and my fears of myself in Colette. But like
Mm.
Wow,
seeing that
that's
you guys are
deep.
doing so much better, like, cause like I have such a my mind is so like final. Like, if I'm not happy, it's never gonna happen. Or if this didn't work, it's never gonna work. But seeing you guys, like how you matured through the things you had to go through and become better people, like, I'm not gonna lie, y'all giving me hope. I might find some love out here. Y'all
Well,
making me
that
feel
little
good.
girl, she
I
sounds
Well,
nice.
if
appreciate
you
y'all. Thank
want
you.
it, you better hope for it and go get it.
Well,
Man,
It's
Michael,
it's
out
what
not
you
there.
believe
it's not
will
easy out
happen,
here.
will happen. If you don't believe you're gonna find love, you won't find
I
it.
was
And if
just
you
about to
believe
say
you'll
that.
find it, you'll find it.
You
It's just
will.
all in
Man,
you.
No more
You a
it's
good
catfish
crazy.
man
anymore.
and somebody that's gonna appreciate you.
You know
It's
who
One
your
appreciates?
relation.
mindset.
I was telling Sheba this. You know who appreciates me?
Oh, you do.
Taking women
Oh.
who already married or with somebody, or like girls who are too young for me. Like, they think they're like, oh, you're so awesome. I'm like, boo boo, you 18. If you don't get out my house, like, that's who appreciates me. That's it. They see it. Women
Because
my
you
age,
just
they're
said
like,
you like to take care of
Whose
people.
fault is
People can
that?
sniff that out on people. Like a person that
Exactly.
needs something can sniff out an empathetic giver from a mile away. So you attracting those type of people.
You're an empath.
You're an
You're
empath,
an
and
That's what
empath.
they
you do.
takers. We all. It's a balance to
mm,
everything. It's a yin and yang to everything. You a giver, and the people you attracted as takers, y'all fit together. But if you don't like that mold, then you have to change your perspective from being that giver. You know what I mean? Not saying you should stop giving, because I think that's a
Well,
beautiful
I'll say
thing.
it
I
like
think that's
this.
beautiful that you're like that. That you're
It's
empathetic.
beautiful and
because you take.
everything,
That's
but
why.
let's just keep it real. Let's just keep it real. It's very beautiful, but it's kind of a turn off. To be real with
I'm
you, and
listening.
that's why they're
Talk to
doing
me.
that
Oh,
to
there
you
you go
because
in there
Talk to
now.
me.
if you
Talk to me.
listen, let me say my piece, and I'm gonna shut on up because I know you probably like,
No. Talk to me.
but I'm gonna
We
keep it real
listening. We
with you.
listening.
No.
I'm gonna
Give
keep
it
it
to me.
real with you. See, me, I'm kind of like in the best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying? Like, I tell you, it's like I'm supposed to have this type of man over here, but I always attract that hood dude over there with the gold teeth and the braids and this and that, and then the stand up guy, the guy that has the morals, the guy that's not sagging his pants, the guy that's not carrying a gun, the guy that's not robbing and selling dope, that's after you, that wants to have a legitimate relationship with you or get to know you. We don't want them, y'all. It ain't nothing appealing going on about y'all except for your offering.
Yeah,
So
that's a
therefore, what
that's a
happens is
preference.
we conflicts within ourselves, and we because a lot of times, hell, we don't even know ourselves. We don't know what's good for ourselves. We just know what's
Yeah.
appealing. We know what's got us jumping on
Uh-huh.
the inside. You know what I'm saying? Even if a woman don't want to admit it, because hell, I don't even think I get horny. Let's just put it on the table. But let me see me a man with some more legs, baby. Let me see me a man with them waves on swim. Let me see me a man with some tattoos, clean cut. Oh Lord, and then let me see you, the empath. That's like, hi Kamika, how you doing? I love
Oh,
to
you
take
got me.
you out. I love to have a conversation with you. And would you like dinner? Hell yeah, I like dinner. Get your ass out my face when I'm done eating. And that's just a stereotype, and it's not even
Mm.
necessarily to
I think
to
that's more with the
to
black
black
community.
women, white.
I think
It
that's more in
is,
the black
but
community.
No,
people
no,
It
no.
might
Because
be
you
I
said
age.
it
can, I
earlier,
can
I don't put
Kay.
it
relate.
to no race anymore.
No, I
I
can
think
totally
I don't put it
relate.
to any race anymore, but I don't say it to hurt
Yeah.
your feelings
Hey,
because I don't talk with feelings.
I am an
I like to
adult
speak with
man.
logic. It's not about your heart.
I'm an
It's about
adult
it's
man.
about your
Yeah.
mind. Get your
Logic is
mind
what I
right.
work with. I'm a grown ass
Yeah,
man.
we're good.
Oh,
We're
okay, that's
good.
good. That's good. Okay.
Colette,
But
what were
yeah,
you gonna say, Colette?
that's not good on our part, but
yeah,
it's just
No, it's like
say that
something I
again.
can relate to too. Even though you feel it's more prevalent in your community,
You just
which
gotta
makes it
lag,
really
Kate. Let
cool.
Colette jump in real quick.
Yes, I on a note can relate to that as well.
Damn, I cannot
wanting
hear
a
Colette.
bad boy.
All the time. The other
She
day,
said she's saying that she can relate to that as well. Like we feel that it's more prevalent in our community, but it's not always that. That's not always the
which
truth.
it
But
may
she
be.
feels the same way.
I just happen to relate. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I
That's
I would
why
think
like
I
to.
said I don't think it's
Oh.
necessarily a race
let,
anymore.
No.
let me
Well,
I
tell you
think
why
it
it's
all. Oh.
let me
I
tell
just
you
want
why I
to
think it's
defend
race.
myself.
I think it's race. And let
I
me
ain't,
tell you why.
I ain't
Because
lame.
people of melanin don't think that doctors work for their mind. And a Caucasian will always go to the doctor. You guys go to therapists, y'all don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It is what the fuck it is. And so people are always there's always someone giving you this what you should try.
Right.
So you're always willing to try some things that if people you can only teach a man or woman something if they're willing or are able to listen.
Right.
People that go to doctors are going
Yeah, they
because
have.
they're trying to get some kind of help. So when you've already determined that life is fucked up, because life is fucked up, because that's how people see it. Nothing's wrong with life. We know the people that I see almost every day at work and stuff, and we know I listen to motivational speakers, and I love Wayne Dyer. I love him, and he always says that life is perfect. The world is perfect. The trees are perfect. They grow. They give us beauty. Everything. The rain comes when the earth is too hot and it waters it down. Everything that the earth needs, it feeds itself. We were
Yep.
given earth. We breathe out carbon dioxide. I think it's carbon dioxide. I might be wrong. I think it's carbon dioxide. Whatever we breathe out, the trees need back. So we feed the trees. The trees in turn feeds us. So life is perfect. The animals are the only thing that stay true to life. I think that people have built this thought in their head of what life is supposed to look like. Because we spend so much of our life looking out at other people's lives saying what we think it should.
Especially now with social media.
And that's why when I wrote The Reality Is, I wrote it. When I changed the truth of my reality to yours, my reality, it no longer makes sense. I found myself living my life looking through your white picket fence. Instead of my defenses, my happy suddenly began to warp, and the strength I used to have suddenly began to lose its support. But don't worry, you're not to blame. You paint the perfect picture of your world, and our worlds are just not the same. If we know unequivocally in life that people put on shows to do fucking stupid shit for whatever reason, we already know that half of the motherfuckers on Facebook ain't right there doing the right shit. So when people are doing shit on Facebook and we're living up to social media, it ain't the asshole that did it. It's us for thinking that that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
If you know a
I'm
bitch lie
actually
all
seeing
the
a test
time.
that tells you that you're very on point.
It's like that saying. It's like when they say when somebody shows you who they are, believe them, or when somebody tells you who they are, believe them. I mean, we know somebody, and then still will be surprised by their actions. Like, why are you surprised that a
Why
thief
are
is
you
stealing?
surprised?
Like, you should know that. Yeah, that's what they do. Like, that's what they do. And at that point, it shouldn't even affect your emotions anymore, because this is what they do. Why should that affect me like that
That's
when this
just
is
who
just
they
what they
are.
do? You know, it's just a part of the season. Like, they do what
I
they
think
do.
I think another point that Wayne Dyer makes is people are walking around always looking for something to be offended about.
Offended.
Facts. Oh my God.
Why in the good fuck are you offended by some shit you knew a motherfucker that was idiot was gonna say anyway?
It's
That
like the
doesn't.
whole thing with politics. Everybody,
Yeah.
Trump this or Trump that. Trump been this. Trump been this since I've known Trump since I was little. So why does it bother you so much?
He was a. Let me tell you something about Trump.
He been that.
People don't like Trump, but
But
Trump has
he
been
is who
proving his
he
foolishness.
is.
That
He
man
is
has
who he
never
is.
said anything that he didn't live up to. Proven
Ever.
it ever. How you gonna be mad at yourself? And he is who he is. But people aren't willing to express that or let it be known that they're who they are. Fucked up and damn all.
Yeah.
We
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 all got
can't
something.
we can't expect anything from our parents that they never were. I can never expect that my mama wasn't gonna whoop me when I did some shit. She was screwed to that. She'll wake my ass up and beat it. She said don't do it, goddamn it. That's what the fuck she meant. So now I can be mad at her when I did some shit I knew she was gonna beat me for. That don't make sense.
Agreed.
I think that we should refocus our thoughts on what love really looks like.
Right.
And I think that if we know what love looks, there's no extent that love wouldn't go.
Yeah.
And I think that if more people understood that, they'll know that they were never loved to begin with. And you can never get anything what you never were, because you would never know what it looked like when it come back. That's what I think toxicity comes from. It's almost like insanity. You keep doing the same thing, but you expect something so totally different. You never loved the motherfucker. How the fuck you gonna want a bitch to love you? That's
Or you
stupid.
never experienced love.
You don't right. If your parents never loved you, you can never expect anyone else to show you love until you know what love looked like.
And I think with that, like, I feel like, because people, when you say your parents never loved you, people think like you was neglected and stuff. But your parents cannot show you love, but still care about you. Because I feel like my mama loves me. Like, I would never question the love that my mom has for me. but at the same time, she doesn't show affection like people would say showing love. You know, we didn't hug a lot growing up. We didn't kiss a lot and all of that stuff. Like that just wasn't what we did. And from the outside looking in, it looked like that's not a lot of love.
Right.
But you know, and you said it earlier, Kay. You said like how your mama don't play or whatever. Oh, she ain't even on here.
She
But
coming back now.
Yeah.
Coming
oh, she
back
come
now.
better. Okay.
Even though she wasn't nurturing, maybe your mom, like there was clothes on your
I agree
body.
because my
My
mom's not a
mom,
big
I think
hugger.
it's the black community again, because I just feel like we grow up to learn to be so tough and so
No,
independent. We teach our
exactly.
man to not cry,
And
to
if
not
you
show
told
emotions,
them,
that we
be
teach our
strong.
woman to work through all those emotions and be independent and stand on your own feet. And that's how I was taught. And I love my mama for that. And I'm a strong woman because of that. She was a strong woman.
I envy
But
that.
the part she left out was just teaching me how to show affection, how to love softly and not be tough all the time and not be independent all the time, to know how to depend on somebody, because you do have to be codependent in this world. You can't just live your life independent, and like learning to be independent is so hard. That's toxic in itself. Like it's good to be independent, but you have to know how to depend on people too. And people forget about that part too. Like it's a
It's the
dynamic to
balance.
each side. Yeah, it's a
The
balance to it.
balance.
And you
Hmm.
wonder why relationships don't are like the way they are now. I mean, they growing up, all I was taught was the most girls I could pull meant that I was that dude, or I was sorry, I'm trying to think while I'm driving, but like that I was a good guy or whatever. That I was doing my thing. That other dudes was like, yeah, you the man. And it took so long to get out that mindset. And shout out to Kay, it took somebody to break my heart for being a nice guy to get out of that and realize I can't be nice, but I also can't be like evil. I gotta find a middle ground, and
You
that's
do.
kind of where I got. You know, I got to the balance. I couldn't be the pushover guy who, hey, G Willikers, man, would you like to get something to eat? I couldn't be that, but I also couldn't be, you know, oh, you cute, but your homegirl cute, to move out the way real quick. I couldn't be that either. You know, so it's just difficult, and everybody, especially like we're lucky because the ages we are, we're fixing ourselves, but I think what we really need to be doing is fixing or trying to not let the babies get broken in the first place, because we were trained to be broken basically because we had to live in a world where, and this is, I'm talking about black people, where we're not really safe, or we're not really, it's not really safe to be who we want to be or who we feel like we are inside. We have to be different versions of ourselves. You know, we have to have corporate us. You know how your mom used to have that voice. We had to learn that, and it's not it's not something that's normal. And because of that, well, I don't think it's. And I told
I
you
disagree.
I speak fatally. Well, you can. That's what we're for. Tell me what you
I
disagree
just
with, and
want
then
to
I'll
say is
disagree with it.
saying that that's not normal. I feel like that is a good trait. I feel like black people specifically have a hands up because we can mold ourselves to different environments and different situations. A lot of black people do have that capability, and I feel like being resilient, being able to mold to different situations is like a great, because the only thing constant in life is change. If you can get yourself used to change, then you should be great at life. I
Well, you're
feel like, and I
misinterpreting what I'm
think
saying.
black people. Okay, maybe I did. Okay,
I'm not saying being, because like I'm a chameleon. That's who I am. You can put me in a room with anybody, and I
right.
can have a conversation with them.
Most of
I'm
us
saying
are. We got that in us.
facts. You better talk to them. But
Facts.
I'm saying we as kids, we harden our kids. We make our
Yeah,
kids have like adult hardening to survive in the country we're in, and that
yeah,
carries over. It carries over. It carries over to, you know, the dude looking at a girl crying and be like, man, get up, bitch, ain't nobody worried about that. Or
yeah,
a woman looking at it, you look at you crying like a little punk. Like, that's your man. I don't care. I don't want no soft ass man. That carries over
yeah.
into, you know what I mean? And I forgot who was saying it. It might have been Kate, saying how, damn, I hate when my brain does this. But it's like you're trying to have a relationship with love when you're what you think love is isn't actually love. It's just what you think it is because of what you grew up with. You've seen
shut up, Clarence, I'm gonna kick your ass, and that's some love to you. So you do it to someone else, and all you're doing is making a cycle of now your bitterness or your hurt is passed on to this person. Now in their future relationships, they think that's what it is, so they pass it on to that person, pass it on to your kids, and it's like it's a wonder that as a species we continue to procreate because well, we always look people having orgasms, but it's never love. You know what I mean? It's always yo, shorty stuff is so good. It's never shorty makes me feel like a better man. You know what I mean?
What?
And it's I don't know. I don't see. I know you guys are the positive ones, and I'm the negative one. I don't see an end to it.
I don't think you're. I
It's
don't think
just
you're.
it just makes me
I
sad
think you're
because I
very
just want
positive.
love so bad. It's just go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I think
On
I
me.
don't.
I missed
I
all of
think
that.
people.
Sorry.
I think sometimes
I just
people
heard
think that.
orgasm. I suck. What? What
We ain't
happened?
talking
Like,
about
what are we
that.
talking about? Like,
We done moved
We,
on.
we was talking about the new ones. We got the new ones in the mail.
Uh,
I think
new
so. I
one.
think.
What?
Never mind. Ignore me.
I think sometimes as people we're expecting the unexpected in life, and I think that's a lot of our problems with life. I think that because people tend to say that that's not. I'm being negative. You just said it. You just said it, Michael. And to me, negativity has a bad connotation. Like it's bad in what seems to be a good moment. But it's only because people don't know how to really deal with it and combat it and not let it be something that controls the way that they think. So they think that people tend to who tends to be the odd one out, that that's just negativity and it's bad. And it's not always bad. Nikki said versatility. Versatility is everything. And I think we are resilient, but I think people are resilient. And I think that sometimes we don't realize a lot of our own strengths. And I do think that a lot of people in the culture community, people of melanin, they always has to seem to think that something has to be bad. Like it's like that's always the first thing that people think. And it happens so quickly. So sometimes we just have to tarry it back and say, you know what, that was kind of fucked up. Like why I said that? That was real wicked. But a lot of times people don't self-reflect. And that in itself is
Right.
toxicity too.
That's a fact.
If
I
you
can
cannot
100%
Yeah.
say I do.
self-reflect, yeah, if you can't self-reflect, you real fucked up. And then we expect other people to self-reflect when we've never done it long enough so that we could be better ourselves. I think a lot of the problems that we have is that we don't know what self look like.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate
Right.
that you cannot see self in the mirror. You have to see self from within. Because everything that we breathe and everything that we do starts with self.
Right.
Nothing that you said to affect anyone started with that person. Even when you're sad because you know what that shit feel like. That's why you're sad. When you're happy because of something someone did or said, it's because you know what that feel like. We laugh at jokes that are funny because those are our experiences. We get offended by shit we don't like because that's our hurt.
Right.
And I think a lot of times we don't see that enough and we're not cognizant of that shit happening. And once again, we go into someone else and now we're asking them, well, you need to help, you need to be better. You need to help me be better. No, you need to be better for your fucking self. I have a girlfriend and I don't even know if she knows that I quote her this much. But she said to me one day, it was the most profound thing. She said, when I met my husband, I told him, I asked him to be patient with me because I never had a man I had to respect. That shit was so fucking powerful to me.
Wow.
That's deep
Because do
though.
you
How you
know
know what to do
that
with it?
meant probably the world to that man, right?
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah,
do with that?
but yeah.
A lot of people, I had an argument with the asshole at work, that fucking bastard. That bastard made me so mad I could fucking spit on him. And it made me so angry because he was such in his own way. And he expected everyone to follow suit. How do you do that? He said when we say some people should just listen, no, the fuck they shouldn't. People should always question your fucking reality. And if you can accept that people will question your reality, you're no good to yourself.
Agreed.
Because no one will ever make you look back and say, why?
Right.
I had an issue when I was in my marriage. My husband had an affair on me with his baby mama. And I wanted to kill that bitch. I did. I really wanted to kill her. I wanted to gut her like a fish. I wanted to eat her ass. I could taste it. I could taste the skin on her ass. I wanted it so bad I could kill her.
I hope she showered.
So then he has a son that was already there before me. Now I had to see the kid, and you know what that did to me?
Yeah.
I didn't want to see that motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I knew that I could not be good to the kid. So before I was not good to him, I told my husband, you leave his ass home until I'm better. Because I'm not better right now. I'm not good.
I ain't ready.
For you, baby. I love that.
I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready.
Being real.
And he didn't even come as a result of the issue. But my mom, well, what happened was, and I think I wasn't mean to the kid. Because I love him now. Praise y'all. I would come to love him a lot. Because he was never really my problem. It was a situation that reminded me of it constantly, and I didn't want to see it.
Right.
But he asked me for someone there. I don't give a fuck. Go get your daddy.
Damn.
And my
Man, you
mama said,
man, come in here.
That's her.
my mama said, you wrong. She said, Sheba, you wrong. I said, I don't give a shit. I don't want to see his ass. And she said to me, you need to tell Gary to leave him home until you're better. Because you're wrong if you mistreat him. She said, and no, mistreating him is not always beating him. Mistreating him is for him to see that you have a problem. You
Right.
didn't like when people did it to you when you were a kid, and you're going to be better and not do it to the kid. And that was profound on her behalf, because most fucked up families, most people are so fucked up, they side with their families wrong. And it's clearly wrong. It clearly wasn't the proper thing to do. But
That was the
people
best part
do
of the
it.
story.
Huh?
The best part of the whole story that she checked you.
She checked my ass. Chin checked my ass right straight up.
That's the
And
best
I
part.
hadn't even said anything bad to the kid, but go to your daddy. And I did it just like that. Like, I don't want to see his ass. Keep him out my goddamn face. But luckily, my husband, well, it wasn't no luckily, because I'm kind of nutty. So it was good that he respected it. You know what I mean? And just left the kid home. But there was a lot of hurt there. And I think sometimes we don't know how to see that. We just don't know how to see it. The same husband, when he had an affair with another girl, and a girl came into a place where I was working, and she looked like the girl. And from she walked in that door, I knew I wasn't gonna like her ass. I knew it. I knew it. I knew I couldn't like her. She came in. I said, "You got an appointment?" She said, "No." I said, "Sit down." Fucking pissed. Girl never did anything to me. And I didn't really feel bad. I felt wrong. So I said, I called her like about 20 minutes later. I had a talk with Sheba. I was like, Sheba, you fucked up, man. That's wrong. That's wrong. That lady did nothing to you. She just looked like that damn girl. That's fucked up. I was talking to me because I wasn't good, you know? So I went to the lady. I called her to the back because I had to tell her. And I said, you look so much like this woman my husband had an affair on me from the moment you walk in that door, I knew I wasn't going to like you. And I apologize.
Cool.
I'm going to apologize to you right now. And I know you don't have an appointment, but you get to skip all them people in that room. No, you don't have to wait another minute. I put in all because I wronged her. But I think a lot of times as people, we don't realize when we've wronged others. But we always want
That's
people
true.
to realize when they've wronged us.
Mhm.
And that's so unfair. And I think we do that in relationships a lot. Whether it's a relationship with a lover, whether it's a relationship with a brother, whether it's a relationship with a sister, a relationship with a friend, a relationship with our parents, a relationship with our coworkers. At what point do we realize when we've wronged others?
When it's
And
done
how
to you. I feel like you can't truly appreciate it until you see it done. Once you see it done to you, then you're like, oh, well,
Mhm.
me personally, it's because I've been there. Like I done did it to exes. I done, been cold and did them wrong. And like the whole time I'm just telling them what they doing wrong. Well, if you wouldn't have did this, I wouldn't be like this. And if you didn't do
Yeah.
that, I would be like this. And like, and they get cold
Ooh, I
with you,
definitely
then you
dated
deal
you
with
before.
somebody that's cold with you for no reason or something. And you're like, oh, this is what they have to deal with. This ain't.
but that's if you could see it.
If you could
Most
see
I
it.
was
people
gonna
You're
can't
say
right.
that.
see that they're fucked up.
You're
And a
right.
lot of families don't know how to tell their family that they fucked up. Like, you gonna right his wrong because he your brother? No, bitch, he fucked up. And
For
you
real.
need to fix him. You know what I mean? But a lot of times people don't know how to really do that. And I think, unfortunately, toxicity is in a bigger nutshell, everything that we cannot self-reflect about. And my
Yeah.
biggest part
Right.
of me, I feel toxicity is what we can't make right. And what we clearly
Right.
can't see that is really wrong within ourselves. And I think it spills out in our relationships, and I think it spills out with our friends, and I think it automatically spills out in our children. And what happens is a lot of our children are already that bigger part of us. There's
Mhm.
some things about us that our children will naturally be. And if we don't catch what's wrong with us, then we can't fix it in our children. And I think that's the biggest toxic issue is what we cannot fix about us and our children. And I'm going to let everybody give their closing remarks after I tell you this. My Abba told me years ago when I was a little girl, 11 years old, he said the hardest thing for me to learn was how to be wrong. That was my hardest problem. That was the hardest thing for me. He said, so Bathsheba, if you're wrong, baby, you have to learn how to be wrong. But if they can't prove you wrong, they can't be right. And that was one of the most solid lessons he could have ever left me with. Because now that causes me always to self-reflect. It
Mhm.
always leaves me self-reflecting because this person is saying this. They have a reason in their mind why that thing that they're saying is valid. Am I really right? But sometimes they're not right either. So I'll have to take the right. I'm going to take the right if we both wrong. But it doesn't make you really right. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of times we don't self-reflect enough in life. And that is where we have so many of our problems. And I like each of you to take the mic at this point and give us your closing remarks on this topic. It's been a great night. Like I couldn't have asked for a better night. And it's been
Yeah, I'm really
yeah,
happy.
I am. I'm actually
You almost brought me to tears
I
again.
enjoyed it.
She was,
So
what
much.
what'd you say, Colette?
you almost brought me to damn tears again, talking about your Abba.
Oh, I love oh
Okay, I can relate to you. I did not specify on anything because I never
What
done
you
this
say?
before, so I was a little rusty. Now that I got the concept of it and the flow of it, I know what to do come next time. But I can relate a lot, and especially around the age range 11. When my dad told me, I used to pray for my parents to get divorced. When he told me he was moving out, I
Ooh,
said, "What
child.
would you pass?
I want a woo
What
God
kid?
child.
knows something.
What kid says that?" And I just really like what everyone had to say. Stop. Sorry. I really like what everyone had to say. I'm really grateful for this experience, and I took from everybody and what they had to say. And I'm happy I met you, Kay and Michael. You both are solid people, and I'm glad we have a
Thank
common
you.
ground
Thank
with
you.
something
Likewise.
very touchy. And it takes a lot of balls, Kay. Like, you really dug deep. Like, I just brushed the surface. I don't want to get into specifics, so respect to you. I loved it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I love
Nothing
all
but
of you for
God.
being
Nothing but
supportive
God.
too.
Trust me. It's not me, it's God.
I'm trying to perfect that too. And I think interacting with people is very important because it helps us reflect within ourselves, which, as we know, is the most important thing to do. And as for childhood, children are the contributors of the world because we raise them almost, we mold them into who they're going to be. Like we said, they're the most important people almost. They're our future. They're our new society.
This is her. Solid. Nikki, what are your closing remarks?
Um, well, I mean, mainly I just feel like the main thing that to avoid being toxic altogether is just like you said, just being able to self-reflect, being able to look at yourself, being able to love yourself, being able to look at your flaws and be okay with them, being able to be emotional and be okay with that. I feel like especially now everybody's so like big on staying positive, and that all in itself is toxic. I mean, we're humans, we're meant to experience every emotion, and you should experience them, you know. But yeah, I mean, in dealing with your kids, I feel like we need to heal ourselves. And again, if you learn to love yourself, then you are able to love your kids, give them full love, give your parents full love, give everybody your relationships 100% of you when you can actually, give yourself 100%. I feel like we neglect ourselves so much and we spend so much of our time comparing ourselves to everybody else or looking outside of us to find somebody to please us or find somebody to do something for us that can make us happy. And at the end of the day, we have everything that we need to do that, to take care of that job, to make ourselves happy. And we have everything we need to raise our kids to be happy, even if they have our bad traits. I mean, it's still, it's the small things, just showing love, I feel like now everything's toxic, like Kay said. So it's just nice to have this conversation and to be able to get everybody's opinions out on what toxic is
Yeah.
nowadays, and just hear everybody's point of view. And also, I want to say I do have a YouTube. It's called Live Your Bliss. So y'all can look me up.
It's
I just
good.
had to do my shout out real quick. It's all about law of attraction and stuff, y'all, and ways to improve your life. So if you're into that, it's called Live Your Bliss. Okay, that's it. That's all.
Also, I learned something too, how you all said that within your community you were, raised to be tough and it's frowned upon to show any soft side. And I was like, okay, there's truth in that because when I was growing up, it's always like go see a therapist, go to a doctor. And I didn't want to always do that because I thought I would be deemed as weak too.
I do want to, because I had wrote that down actually,
And I
because I'm
said,
raising three boys. Yeah,
I
and
want to talk to my
that
friends and
was
family.
tough.
I don't need a doctor. I don't need a therapist. This is for me to figure out. So I found that was really interesting too.
We need therapists. I think Black people shouldn't be
Everybody
so
does, but
against
I love how you
therapists.
brought
I
different
don't
people together.
understand why we're so against it. But I know raising three
You know
boys and
why?
then having five brothers. Like, I know in the Black community, we teach our men to be tough. And then being tough also means ignoring your emotions. And I mean, I know I've been the type to not like a guy if he cries
Yeah.
or shows any type of emotion, or so
And
that
young
all
people
is
need to
in
tough it up.
learning. Yeah, that's all in learning. And again, it's all in loving yourself, because once you start loving yourself, you don't want that guy that treats you like shit no more,
No.
because you just know what you deserve. Like I said, like it comes with self-reflection. Yeah, you want this asshole that's gonna do you wrong right now, because that's what all you think you can deserve. Like that's all you think you can get.
Yeah.
But it all
Mhm.
comes with learning yourself and realizing, but that's what I'm working on, raising my boys to know that it's okay to feel all of that. Even if at first, I was telling them, stop crying. Boys don't cry, because I have told my kids that. And when they were younger, I'm just thankful that I healed myself, started my healing journey before they got too old. So
Uh-oh.
I can start breaking those bad patterns, right now before it's set in too much, because I've already did my damage. I can say that, you know. But the thing is just learning and growing and moving on. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. So,
Live your
Michael,
bliss. Okay.
what are your closing remarks, Mike?
I think all of you women have some wonderful information, and you need to be fucking contagious. I hear all this talk about learning to love yourself. Uh, People don't know how to do that. Like, learning to love yourself is arbitrary as fuck. Like, learn to love yourself. Okay. Like,
What does
you
that
know
look
what I mean?
like?
I don't know what that means. Like, people have been saying that for years, and it's like, you guys need to be contagious. If you know how to do it, if you know a way there, if you even know how to find the way to the bridge to get there, like, express it to people. Like, every story you told had someone in your family telling you something to set you straight or to put you on the right path. Like, that's what we need to be doing. Like, I know I try to talk to my female friends, all my male friends. I don't have that many male friends because guys get on my nerves. That's another podcast. But I try my best to share any enlightenment that I have, because I mean, what is the point of me gaining all the knowledge that I think I have if I'm not going to share it? Like, I'm getting all this gold to bury myself with. Like, I'm not Tutankhamun, you know? It makes no sense. So I say you, especially you four, because I've listened to three and a half of you. Sorry, Colette. And I've heard I've heard like so many things, and even before she got cut off, I was listening to what she was saying. Like, these are things that people need to know. There's so many people who are in your positions that never had that light switch on, that never had that for K, that come to Jesus moment. They never had that thing happen, and then they go, "Oh damn, this is enough. I gotta stop." There are people out there who will take it to the ground and keep going down and keep going further down. They hit rock bottom and don't even know it, and they think this is I guess this is regular now. You know, they need people like you to let them know or let them see that there's a different path. There's a better way. There's a better way to take yourself. You don't have to just accept what you're being dealt. You can say, "Fuck this table. I'm gonna go try table 6." You know what I mean? You can do that. That's what I take away. I hope anyone that listens to this, they hear you all from different points of view, myself as well, and they think there's something for me. There's a chance for me. I just need to learn, and I hope there's someone out there who's willing to take the time with them to at least give it to them. Now, if they're stubborn and it takes them 15 times to get one thing, fuck them. But if they're willing to try, because what I told you was the sexiest thing in the world, effort. Effort is the sexiest thing in the world to me. If a woman, I have a list of like 22 things that make up my dream woman, and if a woman hits 15 of them, I'm lucky. But let's say she hits 12 of them, but she's trying hard as hell to hit them other ones. That means more to me than a woman that hits all 22. Because a woman that's perfect is horrible. Nobody wants a perfect person. You feel, what the hell? I can't do nothing with this perfect person. But a person that's trying, giving that effort, that is a thing. So try harder and try to find someone to mentor you, because I'm trying to find these ladies Facebook and Twitter and stuff later, because I'm gonna hit her YouTube, because I need to find out how to attract some goodness to me too. I want some love. I want some joy. I'm a great dad to people who aren't my kids. I'm a great dad to my one daughter. Why shouldn't I be helping other guys who don't know how to be a great dad be a great dad? You know, why shouldn't you women be helping other women who are subpar in certain areas be better in areas you're great at, and maybe learn something from them? I'm gonna stop talking because, as I said, I'll talk all day. I'm married. I'll take up time, so my bad. Go ahead.
Hey, Kay, I'm not sure that we can hear you, but what are your closing remarks? Hey.
Hello.
Okay, she owed me $5 for trying to hurt my feelings.
Oh, I can't. What happened?
We can't hear you. I was trying to see what your closing remarks were.
I'll never try to hurt your feelings. Just want to touch you up there a little bit and jump inside your mind. I do a different could have went deeper into it.
We can't hear you. I'm not sure what's going on. Kay's
word
having a
for
really
today for her is Wi-Fi. We're gonna get her some good Wi-Fi We gonna hook her up.
Yeah, we're gonna upgrade that for her.
At,
We got a Christmas coming.
what? You better. Me and Nikki chipping in right now.
And
All right.
so once again,
Um,
you guys, we can't have Talk Tuesday without the guest, because this is why I developed Talk Tuesday, because I think that a lot of us have different perspectives that need to be, we need to have things expressed from. And I think sometimes when we look at things from a one-sided perspective, we never get anywhere at all. So it's hats off to everyone who has sat here this evening, who was able to be free with their stories and share with us what they think and what their ideologies were. And I know it's easy for us to use words like opinion, but I think that ideology is a better word, because opinion makes it a little less important to the situation. I think that a lot of us are misconstrued on what relationships are supposed to really be. And I think that we spend a lot of our time looking out at the world through other people's eyes, and or maybe not enough. No, I said it right, out of other people's eyes, and not enough out of our own. Because a lot of times, if we just took time to look within, we'll find out a lot about other people. We just have to dig a little bit deeper. There's not enough mirrors in the world to help you self-reflect. If you cannot reflect on what's within yourself, you'll never, ever be of any good to anyone in the world at large at all. And I think that we should think always before we make decisions, and always remember that other people are always going to be in need of something that we do have, and that we're willing to share those parts of ourselves, and that we're willing to go a little bit deeper so that what we share is valid enough that it can really, truly, and really, truly help someone else. Our lives are just a big part of what we feel. And I think a lot of times when we bottle things up or we box things up, it creates them a bigger situation, because now the help that we could possibly get or use, we can't get. Because, like Nikki said, a lot of us in our culture community don't go to the doctor, and therefore we're not looking for help. When you're not seeking help, you're never going to find it. A lot of people are really fucked up, and it's just unfortunate. We tend to say that we're not perfect, but I tend to think that people are perfect. I think they're perfectly made by perfect design. And I think that the way that they think causes a lot more problems than it does them any good. So then they put themselves at war with the world, which is really, they have themselves at war within themselves. So that's why they can't be any better. Our children are only just a reflection of who we are. And I think that the more we focus on what it means to be better, the more everything else makes sense. So once again, panel, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much, Facebook family and Facebook friend and YouTube family and friends. Thank you so much for coming in with us tonight. We'll see you on next Tuesday as always. Happy Bug is signing off. Thank you very much. Good night.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.